Okay, so I want to ask you a question. What is it that God is calling you to release? There are so many areas of our life that get rocked and disturbed because God's calling us to release it. And in some way, shape, or form, we know that God is calling us to release this thing. We are just holding on to it with everything that we have. I gotta get you to consider this one thing. There is a reason why God desires you to release it. God is not asking you to do a hard thing just for the sake of doing hard, although that's a part of it. He's not going to ask you for something that is required for your destiny. He's not going to ask you for something that serves you well in the purposes that he has for you. He's not going to ask you for something that is conducive to your walk with him and is actually doing a good service for you. What is he asking you to release? Something that does not serve you in the plan that he has for you. So if it is not serving you, it is something that is hindering you. It is something that is working against you. It is something that potentially is preventing you from becoming all that God has called you to be. The very thing you're holding on to that God is asking for is not of God, and that's why he's asking for it. So why do you want something that's not of God? God has told you this is something he needs in this hour. This is something he wants in this hour. Why won't you give it to him? Do you know God's on your side? Do you know God's working for you? Do you know God is trying to help you? You don't know what's attached to that thing. You don't know what's going on with that thing, but God does. You don't know how that thing is working against what God has for you. God does. I don't care if you believe it's a good thing. Oh, this is a great thing. This thing has served me well. And God could be telling you it served you well in one season. It's not going to serve you well in the season that I have for you. Yeah. It served you well. There was something even better if you can release that will serve you for this season that I have you going into. That's speaking to me right now. Because you can have something that don't serve you your whole life. It ain't going to serve you for the life that God is trying to bring you into. See, we keep trying to hold on to the old, to the known, to the familiar. And God is like, will you let go so I can bring you into the new thing? You're trying to hold on to all that you know of yourself. And God is like, you've exhausted all of that self. Will you let me show you a new self, an evolved self? Will we let go of the identities we had to embrace the identities that God's trying to bring us into? God, like, I got a new thing for you. Will you let go of the old thing? I mean, it's crazy when you think about it, because I've been there. I've been there, I am there, and I'm probably going to be there again one day. But it's a process. I've embraced the process. But that we hold on so dearly to what God desires to remove, and we think we know better than God. Like, nah, I think I'm going to keep this. I like it. God is like, I need you to give it to me. Why? I need you to focus less on the why and focus more on the who. Who's asking you for it? It's me. Trust me and leave it there. God ain't got time to be sitting there answering all your questions and speaking in your reasoning, your understanding. God, like, I'm the one that gave you your understanding, your reasoning. I know what's in it. And it is one that is meant to be brought up to my ways, brought up to my thoughts. It ain't there yet. Trust me. Trust me. You know, at one point, I decided I want God's best, that I no longer wanted what I wanted, that I want what God wants, because God knows I want to choose the person God wants me to be with. I want to live in the home that God wants me to live in. I want to be surrounded by the people God wants me surrounded with. I want to eat the foods God wants me to eat. Like, I want God's best. So it can't be about me. But even in that, I saw people were stripped away, things were stripped away, stuff was happening. But even still, I have struggles. Even still, I be thinking about the fact that there are things that, you know, I still get comfortable. I still want, I still hold on to. And God's like, no, I need you to give that to me. Things that are seemingly good. My God, I thought you gave this to me. Why do you want it? I thought you gave it to me for a season. Now it's time for you to give it back. Does God want you to leave a home? Does God want you to leave a job? Does God want you to leave friends? Does God want you to leave behind an identity? Does God want you to leave behind an activity? A person? There's a reason for it. That thing could be wreaking havoc in your very soul that you're unaware of. That thing could have a spiritual origin that is set against you, that is meant to torment you, that is meant to destroy you. There could just simply be a better thing somewhere else. You've exhausted that thing. Now it's time for you to move on to the next thing, because I got bigger, better, and greater, but you got to let go of the small thing first. Whatever it is, I want you to just simply trust God. Trust God in that whatever He's asking you to release, you don't need it. Matter of fact, why do you even want it? God's telling you it's not for you. God's telling you He don't want you to have it. God's telling you it's time for you to move on from the thing. Go. Give it up. And give yourself an opportunity to see why. To experience what that thing was hindering and blocking and stopping you from. Give yourself a chance to walk into that, to live into that, to see what that is. If God's asking you to give up a thing, boy, girl, give that thing over to God. It's His anyway. Talk soon. Bye.